Kia ora Star Wars fans, welcome to Middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. And I promise this video is definitely about Star Wars figures. I've just had a box arrive from Amazon. Boof, but it's okay. It is inside. I've got a whole bunch of these Phase 2 armor clone troopers from Andor, VC269, so let's check it out. Now this box came with absolutely zero padding whatsoever, and there's a big dent on the side. There's 5 of them in here. I only just need one of them to be minty because I'll be opening the rest. Okay, so I just got to say, I'm really grateful that Hasbro introduced the thicker cardstock. I think it was last year they brought that back in after we complained about the thin cardstock. Because this came in, 5 of them in a box. The box was crushed, absolutely no protection. And these 5 are pretty awesome. Like, there's no real complaints, and I'm sure I'll be able to find a really minty one out of these 5. Okay, here he is again. It's VC269. This is the 4th figure we've got from the Andor series, and I really like that they've taken the opportunity to update this mold. And I think that's a really cool image that they've chosen as well. You can see it's an actual actor in the suit there, which is a new thing because of the TV shows, because of course all the ones in the live action movies were CGI. On the back there you can see it's VC269, and you can see some of the other figures in that wave. Okay, so the cool thing about getting a whole bunch at once is I compose them all differently like this and then show you what I think. So let's have a look at the helmet sculpt. So this was the thing that most concerned me. The visor just looks a little bit thin. There we go, we're in focus now compared to some of the previous ones, but actually in hand the helmet isn't as bad as what I thought it would be. So look at his peg holes. Oh yeah, they're pretty decent peg holes, should be able to fit into a stand. The other issue is of course the gummy rifle, and I managed to get this hand holding that nice and snug. It means his trigger hand keeps popping out of his trigger hand, and then you can see as well how bendy that gun is. The plastic they're using for the weapons is far too bendy. I mean, look at that twist tie stuff. And then what else? The head sculpt, the Temuera Morrison head sculpt is pretty fantastic. But the trade-off is, I don't believe that all clones need to have removable helmets, because they don't all take their helmets off. I think for named clones fine, but just for a standard buck like this one, I think it would be much better if we got a better helmet sculpt, one with a, you know, a visor that's a bit thicker than that, not as thin as that, and just had a solid helmet. That would be pretty cool. As you can see, from a posability perspective, these figures are actually amazing. Nice head sculpt, but again I would have preferred if it just had a solid helmet instead of a removable helmet, and they just need to fix up that visor. The only other thing is the DC-15 particular rifle is made out of that very gummy plastic, which is no good. Okay, so just bring in some other plain white clones that I have. So that is from 2004. I think that's the quick draw mold. So they repainted that in other sort of battalions or legions or whatever you want to call them. And this dude here is also from 2004, and he's actually some kind of driver. You can even see his head under there. The helmet doesn't fit all the way on there, and I think he had swappable pauldrons or something like that. And then this is one from 2005, which is sort of an upgrade of those two. Again, solid helmet, so his helmet is quite a bit thinner than those removable ones, but he's a nice bright shiny white. And then finally, this is VC's 15, the vintage collection one, and you can see it uses that really old shoulder style, and again with removable helmet, but that helmet notoriously goes really bad color wise. So yeah, quite a nice little selection of plain white clones. Okay, so there we go. Overall, fantastic figure. I won't go through all the articulation because you've seen it on other reviews before, but the key ones, are the newest ones, are these, the new style hips and the rocker ankles. And this is a good example of rocker ankles where there's a bit of a decent peg hole. Some of the ones when you get rocker ankles peg holes are just way too thin. I wish they'd put them somewhere else in the foot so they could do them justice. Overall, I would give this figure a 9 out of 10. The main knockdown for me is the helmet and the visor in particular. So look how thin that is. I'm talking about the corners of his eyes and that kind of triangular shape. You can see it in the picture. It's much deeper than what it is on the figure. So yeah, I would like to see this figure again. When they do the other clone legions or battalions, I'd like to see them do the shock trooper. I'd like them to redo the 327th battalion. But if they do redo it, please don't give it a removable helmet. Unless it's one of the commanders, just make it a solid helmet, get that sculpt perfect, and we will be good. So please let me know in the comments below if you pick this figure up. How do you rate it? How do you compare it to some of the other Phase 2 clones? If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. Ka kite, and I'll see you on another video.